What's up, Chicago? I'm Second City Sam, and I'm alongside the important Joe Cerna, and you're listening to the official Sam and Joe Show podcast. Today, we are going to review what happened at WWE Fastlane, and of course, we're going to review what happened on Monday Night Raw last night. First of all, Joe, did you watch the pay-per-view?
Most definitely. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
What did you think of it before we get into detail here?
One of the better pay-per-views. I mean, I was actually surprised at how good it was.
Yeah, not bad, right? I mean, I wasn't expecting a whole lot going into it, but neither was everybody else. I thought it was a little underrated. The matches were of solid content. Not sure about some of the endings, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. So I want to start off here. Let's start off with the tag team division. You had the Usos, who were the champions against Tyson Kidd and Cesaro at Fastlane. The winners were obviously Tyson Kidd and Cesaro.
I'm liking it.
You liking it?
I'm liking it.
You liking that tag team?
Just because of how much they don't work out makes them work out.
What do you mean?
Like, they're so different. And the fact that, I mean, they don't have matching trunks. Nothing about them, you look at them and you're like, oh, they're a team.
Yeah.
And it makes sense of how well it worked, because then you think of people like Booker T and Goldust when they were a team, how different they were.
Oh, yeah.
And they made a team. The Rock and Sock Connection.
Oh, that's probably the most different one you've ever seen.
I mean, it was just, I think it'll work, because Tyson Kidd, he has a lot of
potential?
Yeah, like he can.
He's a very good wrestler. He's a little underrated, in my opinion.
And Cesaro.
Yeah. Formerly as Antonio Cesaro.
Yeah, he's got a good fan base, and
he does. Some fans really feel he's underappreciated in the WWE.
I think so.
I mean, think about it. The guy, you take a look at the guy. He doesn't look like he's all that strong, but he quite possibly could be the strongest guy in that company.
Maybe even in the history.
What do you mean?
Who's stronger?
Stronger? Brock Lesnar?
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Really think about it.
He's this... Joe, he's around the same area as Brock Lesnar. There's no way to really prove if he's stronger than Brock Lesnar. But who would you go with? Looking at the body build, who do you think would be the stronger guy?
Brock Lesnar.
Oh, exactly. Just by the way of looking at him.
That match would be great. Brock Lesnar, Cesaro.
Well, some people are arguing that would blow the main event at WrestleMania, which we'll get into later, away. They'd say they blow that match away.
Most definitely.
So, like we said, Cesaro and Tyson Kidd are the new tag team champions. I'm pretty excited to see what they could do in that division. Like you said, two different guys, two different styles even. But they work well together, and that's the key to winning those type of matches. The Usos, I will mention real quick. Last night on Raw, they used their rematch clause for the championships. They won the match and got via disqualification because of Natalya interfering. In the match. So it was pretty stupid. I didn't like it.
It's just a way to show the assurance that they're the champions.
Yeah, they're going to make a run at it. That's what it's showing. All right, moving on here. Let's talk about the Intercontinental Championship match that went on at Fastlane. Dean Ambrose, who I really, really thought was going to win the match, in my previous podcast, faced off against the champion, Bad News Barrett. What'd you think of that match, Joe?
Pretty solid match. I'm a fan of both of their styles of wrestling, but I just can't get over the fact that Bad News Barrett has the worst name in wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And then the worst finishers, man.
He's so cheesy. Like
the bullhammer is okay, but that waistline.
It's not. Bullhammer's not even okay. How's that going to knock somebody out?
It's a forearm to the chin.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is.
Gets you right in the button.
Oh, bring the bullhammer down on you. I don't know, but the results of the match were kind of disappointing. Barrett was running away from Dean Ambrose during the match. Dean Ambrose finally got him back in the ring, put him in the corner, was stomping him. The referee, I mean, I didn't even hear the count myself, but I guess he counted to his normal 5 count, and as you know, if you get to the 5 count and you don't let up, you lose the match by disqualification. I mean, what kind of ending were you expecting? Because that ending really annoyed me.
That's pretty funny. I just feel like this Fastlane pay-per-view deal, it's just a push for WrestleMania. I think it's going to be nothing but rematches at WrestleMania.
You know, thinking about it, it really is. I mean, it's going to be, Dean Ambrose is going to be in the Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania. But I will mention that it might not just be him and Bad News Barrett. I mean, will it be a triple threat? Will it be a thing with Ambrose, Bad News Barrett, and Dolph Ziggler? Who would wind up winning, in your opinion, just based off of what happened at Fastlane and Raw? Who would wind up winning the belt?
You know what? I would say Ziggler.
Really?
Yeah, you throw Ziggler the belt and have a big feud between him and Ambrose. Or turn Dolph Ziggler heel.
Which I heard could be a possibility.
Really?
Yeah.
I was just throwing that out there because that could do something. Usually heels do better in this day and age. So he flips heel, gets an even bigger fan base, and has this giant feud with Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. I mean, I thought right off the bat that Dean Ambrose was going to win the match at Fastlane and go on, have a big old title run for the Intercontinental, have it for at least until like SummerSlam or something, and then kind of push him up towards the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that did not happen. Let's move on here.
Well, hold on.
Okay,
they can do, like, let's say if Dean Ambrose were to win the belt, okay, and think of who's in charge of all the storylines and all. It's Triple H, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, Vince McMahon.
Well, Triple H too. They're all
but Vince is ultimately the decision maker.
Okay. Anyways,
I'm right.
Think about 2002. What was the match? Let's do No Mercy. Who did Triple H go against? Kane, right?
Okay.
What was the stipulation of the match?
Champion versus champion.
The World Heavyweight against the Intercontinental.
Yeah.
Now they throw up Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. The WWE World Heavyweight against the Intercontinental. Boom.
Wait a minute. Who's to say Seth Rollins is in there by then?
I said either or.
Well, I know, but you forgot to mention like Daniel Bryan or something.
I highly doubt they're going to do that.
What about Brock Lesnar?
No.
We'll get into this later, but there could be a chance that he retains as well.
You think so? He's not going to the UFC.
Well, he might not.
It would be stupid for WWE to let him go and not be the heavyweight champion.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that in just a little later.
Just a little later.
Just a little later on in the Page. Moving on here, let's get into the divas.
Hashtag Talk is Jericho.
Yeah, way to plug another Page.
It's a great podcast.
It is a good podcast. But moving on in the Divas competitions over here, we had Nikki Bella versus good old Paige for the, as Jillian put it, or Lillian. I don't even remember her name. That's how bad she was at Fastlane.
Who?
The ring announcer.
Lillian?
Yeah, Lillian. The women's champion. It's not even the women. That's like 5 years ago. No, but in all honesty, Paige, she lost the match to Nikki Bella for the title. It was stupid. They don't give the divas enough to do.
You know what? Stop complaining. All I hear you do is complain, Sam.
Really? You think the divas are getting enough time? They're not. They're getting no respect right now from the WWE.
I think they're getting a fair amount of respect. It's the same respect they've always gotten.
No, I disagree.
They didn't...
The Divas matches were exciting. They were longer.
Like
Trish versus Lita.
That was a good feud.
Yeah. Well, they don't build any feuds.
They would build the matches longer if there was more story behind it. The fans they're not groping in on the stories as much as they are the main eventers.
Exactly, which means they're doing a terrible job with the Divas.
Well, I mean, what more story can you do? They have a whole show. They have the Total Diva show.
Nobody watches that. I don't.
Just because you don't doesn't mean everybody else does.
I've never heard of one wrestling fan that watches that. Do you watch that, Joe? Is that your type of show?
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
They're on their third season for a reason.
Yeah?
You know why? As soon as they brought John Cena and Daniel Bryan, even men were like, "Oh, John Cena and Daniel, let's see what that's about."
No.
A lot of people have.
I don't see why. What does it? What does that have to
show.
do? What does that have to do with
anything? It makes you connect with the show even more. I mean, with even WWE, it makes you connect with the wrestlers more because you see the people behind the stage. It's not, oh, I'm going to whoop their butt at the pay-per-view. No, it's like, oh, hey, I got to do this, like Fandango.
What about him?
It shows a whole nother side of him than his character. Like, oh, hey, when we go out there and dance and do this, stuff like that. It shows you the real person.
Okay.
But besides that, they have this show that influences their storyline. But if the people were like, oh, yeah, Nikki's doing whatever to her sister, but Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, oh, which one are they going to want to see longer? Yeah, the girls entertain them, but you want to see the guys fight, you know?
All right. Well, moving on here from that, we're going to get into the match that opened up the pay-per-view. It was a 6-man tag team match. It was Kane, The Big Show, and Seth Rollins versus Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, and Eric Rowan. That match was, it was okay, kind of lame. The outcome was just as I expected.
I completely forgot the storyline behind that. Good thing Michael Cole was actually being a bad commentator and using story rather than calling the match. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known why they were wrestling.
How did you forget that?
It's not something I pay attention to. It's like, I went in there, I'm like, oh, they're having a 6-man tag match? Like, this is something?
Well, what happened at the end was probably the best part. I mean, well, obviously Big Show, Kane, and Rollins cheated to win, as we all expected they would. But the Authority was beating up everybody in the ring when all of a sudden, Randy Orton, the Apex player, the Viper himself, came out.
I got a question for you.
What's that?
Further story to make sense. Why didn't John Cena come out as well? If it was his fault that they lost their jobs and all this other stuff.
That's not why Randy Orton came out.
I know, but still, I'm saying, why didn't John Cena come out?
Because John Cena had a match against Rusev later on.
Oh, so he had to mentally prepare.
He had to prepare himself
He had to
for the Bulgarian brute.
He had hustle, loyalty, and respect.
Hey, you quit knocking John Cena. I like John Cena.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, like, he could have came out and helped him because it was his fault that all this happened.
How is it his fault?
Survivor Series last year.
I know that. But they were as emotionally involved as he was, you know.
Randy Orton wasn't.
No, I'm not saying Randy Orton.
It would make more sense for John Cena to come out than Randy Orton. I mean, or both of them.
Randy Orton was put out because of Seth Rollins, Joe. That's
Okay.
why Randy Orton came out.
And why wouldn't John Cena come out to help his buddies?
Because John Cena had a match.
And